Hello, this is Warlord 12, and this time I want to be talking about, sirens, basically like mermaids. It has come to my attention to talk about this. This is a video, this is one of those videos where I have to get this information out. So, excuse me for not having, enough images or, other things playing in the background. It's just one of those things I need to get off my chest now because I've started noticing certain things happening lately. It's like when you're in group chats or wherever you are, right? You know what I'm saying? I noticed when I mentioned like one thing about a siren, right? Mentioned one thing about siren, having trying to have a conversation about it. And the point is, sometimes there's those times where you make certain comments or whatever it is, and nobody really pays attention to what you're saying, right? But as soon as I say the word siren, right? As soon as I mention siren, all of a sudden people are like, oh, you got to take that comment down. You have to, saying you can't, or you can't say that in this category on, posts like this. You have to put that in a different category. See, my point is about this whole thing is if when people say that something's not real or you can read the room, right? You know what I'm saying? If it doesn't exist, right? It's kind of like why are you trying so hard to get someone to remove their comment or put it in a different category or something like that? You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm just saying like if you don't believe in something, right? Why do you have to get all aggressive all of a sudden? And this is something, this isn't just about this topic, but this is just like stuff that's biblical, right? That you could be talking about, or you could be talking about giants, right? And then as soon as you do that, some people start getting aggressive and everything all of a sudden. It's like, people start getting kind of hostile because you mentioned a certain type of thing. And I'm saying, so what I'm trying to say is, it's one of those things that some people aren't going to notice, but it's one of those things that has to do with spiritual warfare, right? That's why you see a lot of people try to come against you when you have some specific type of information, and then you start noticing people start acting differently, and they start acting a certain way because you brought up something that's actually significant, right? You know what I'm saying? And this is just one of those things that usually happens when you bring up something that has to do with the Bible. And I know some people will probably say, like, well, why don't you just put that in a different category? I said, if you had to waste my time and try and tell me put it in a different category, I might as well just make a video because the fact that you had to tell me to take a post down, right? You're only able to tell me what to do kind of like because I'm in your territory, right? But see over here on this platform on my channel, right? This is my territory. Or it's just like if you're on social media, right? When you're not on someone else's page or whatever it is, you're on or whatever's going on some whatever post or whatever it is, when you're on, if you notice, when you're on your own post, posting certain things, people get upset because they can't tell you to take it down. I mean, now obviously you can, you know, have the choice to take it down because but it's on your platform. But you know what I'm saying? People, I'm starting to notice people will get hostile because they don't like the fact that you're telling the truth about certain things. And then it's just like when it's on your channel or if it's on, your post that you made, you know what I'm saying? They get upset because they can't just tell you you can't do that because you know what I'm saying. Now it becomes like they start using other tactics and stuff. Now they just start calling you crazy and all this other stuff. And then when people know, and then there are times where people know, since people know that you're on your own, your own post or whatever it is, or what I'm saying, like, or your own channel, people don't really want to say anything. And it's obvious why they don't want to say anything is because the reason why they don't say anything because they know that that's your territory and that's not theirs. So they can't try and, you know what I'm saying? They can't try and nudge you to do what they really want you to do. And they can't stand that. But, you know what I'm saying? But when you see stuff like this go on, that's because there's like spirits, operating. That's why that happens, usually. So the other reason why I also needed to make this video was mainly because there's a lot of people talking about sirens all of a sudden now, and that's because you got people talk. It could be a theory, but there's some people that are talking about, elites eating mermaids and stuff like that. They're eating sirens and stuff. You know what I'm saying, to gain power or some type of knowledge, right? So, and it could be those things, but the point is like there's more and more videos and things going on now. There's like more videos on social media now talking about sirens. And for me, as far as why that is, it's probably because it's part of the end times, which is why you're seeing it being brought up more. And of course, there's specific people that don't want you talking about stuff like this.